When the demon lord is born into the world, a divine messenger appears in response. The hero. My name is Alec, and I am that chosen hero. And these are my trusted companions, standing with me. First, there is Rock, the mighty warrior. Beside him is Leon, the brilliant mage. And completing our party is Shirley, the devout priestess. And then, there was the other one. This is Hayashi, a salaryman from the sales department. Our story truly begins a short time before our departure. I knelt before the king, promising to defeat the demon lord. I told my king to leave it to me, and he expressed his great expectations. It was my destiny ever since I drew the legendary sword and was chosen. The days of training were grueling, but I always dreamed of a true adventure. At last, the time had come for the legend of Hero Alec to finally begin. An attendant told me to stand and turn to face my new comrades. I saw three figures backlit by a brilliant light, the strongest party imaginable. The king had chosen them just for me. I was overwhelmed with gratitude. A smiling man introduced himself as Rock the warrior, ready to be relied upon. A gentle woman named Shirley the priestess vowed to do her very best for our quest. A cool young man, Leon the mage, stated he would fulfill his duty as one of the chosen. What a reliable party. I was certain the four of us would succeed. But the king held up his hand, telling me I was mistaken. Confused, I looked around, asking where the final member could be. My mind raced with excitement, imagining a cool, stealthy assassin. Suddenly, a pair of hands moved with crisp efficiency, adjusting a tie. A man in a suit appeared, introducing himself as Hayashi from sales. The world tilted on its axis as I stared in utter, uncomprehending shock. I sputtered, asking who he was and how he had gotten there. Shirley explained he'd been there all along, while Rock noted his faint presence. I turned desperately to the king, asking him to explain this person. The king seemed unbothered, as if it were obvious he was part of the strongest party. Leon observed that he seemed like an ordinary person, a liability to the mission. I gritted my teeth, knowing I couldn't defy the king, our patron. The king then added that Hayashi was a special existence. He revealed the truth. Hayashi was an isekaijan from another world. The rest of the party gasped, shocked by the revelation. A person from another world? The idea was staggering. The king proudly confirmed it, stating Hayashi was from the modern world. I tried to process the information, acknowledging that I understood. I had, of course, heard the legends of such people before. They were said to possess unique and powerful skills beyond our imagination. I looked at Hayashi's plain and unassuming face. He stood there looking frail and utterly unremarkable. My gut screamed at me that something about this was completely wrong. My companions agreed, noting his skinny frame and lack of any powerful aura. Hayashi turned his head slightly, politely acknowledging our stares. With a startlingly swift movement, he declared this is simply who he is. I flinched back, bracing myself for a sudden attack. But he simply held out a small, rectangular card. He bowed, saying he looked forward to working with us, leaving me to stare at the strange card. The king was delighted, certain that Hayashi must possess some amazing skill. He praised his own judgment as the castle guards cheered for Hayashi. The rest of us could only look on in dumbfounded silence. I asked Hayashi what skills he had, needing to record them for my log. He listed his corporate certifications, including a TOEIC score of 700, to our utter confusion. I had no idea what a TOEIC was, let alone if 700 was a good score. The king dismissed us, telling us to stop the small talk and go save the world. The guards cheered for my good fortune and, strangely, for Hayashi's as well. I awkwardly turned to Hayashi and invited him to come along. He gave a faint, pleasant smile, a picture of perfect composure. With a simple, polite yes, he agreed to join our quest. The rest of my party looked on with deep unease and concern. As we departed, they warned me that this would be tough and not to overdo it. Our journey eventually led us to the rooftops of a nearby town. We gathered at an inn, the party sitting around a table in awkward silence. My companions exchanged worried and annoyed glances amongst themselves. I knew exactly what was causing this strange, uneasy atmosphere. The source of our collective anxiety was Hayashi from sales. He broke the silence, politely reintroducing himself and offering his regards. Rock demanded to see the card Hayashi had given me, but Leon dismissed the gesture. Realizing the card was unreadable, I remembered we could check his guild card for his status. We summoned the status screen and stared at a row of the number 1. Hayashi stood there, holding his briefcase, officially a level 1 adventurer. We were horrified. His stats were worse than even a novice's. I asked if he had adventured before, which he called a business trip. Wondering how he survived, I asked if he had traveled with a party. He calmly replied that he had mostly been on his own. I was shocked, imagining him fighting monsters solo with a surveyor's pole. In this world, sending someone like him out alone would be a death sentence. I wondered what we should do, as he couldn't even learn basic magic. Rock grumbled that it was impossible for Hayashi to adventure with us. Shirley and I could only agree. The situation seemed hopeless. I rallied their spirits, declaring that our quest would begin with gathering information. But I noted we had walked for 3 days, and Hayashi must be exhausted. It must be so difficult for an ordinary person to keep up with us. I turned to my friends and apologized for the burden he represented. As night fell over the wilderness, I decided it was time to make camp. Rock handed me a bundle of firewood to hold while he worked. I wondered if Hayashi was used to camping from mandatory company recreation. Rock asked what a kaisha was, and Hayashi explained it was like a guild. Suddenly, Hayashi presented a perfectly assembled campsite, stunning me with his competence. I thought he might be an amazing person after all, but he just requested a holiday. The morning arrived with the cheerful chirping of birds. We gathered around the embers of the fire in the soft morning light. I checked on my companions, who admitted they were still quite tired. Leon confessed that he was simply not used to sleeping outdoors anymore. Shirley agreed enthusiastically, saying what she truly needed was a proper bed. She lamented that sleeping on the hard ground left her feeling unrested. I told her it was tough, and she vowed to do her best until we reached town. When asked if he was all right, Hayashi simply offered a polite, unwavering yes. Hayashi calmly explains that sleeping on the hard ground is actually quite comfortable. He compares it to sleeping on pipe chairs, which the party imagines as torture. The party finally arrives at a large, bustling town, much to Alec's delight. Alec declares their first priority is finding an inn. Leon enthusiastically agrees. At the inn's counter, the keeper informs them that every single room is full. He explains their bad timing, as it is the annual harvest festival. The party despairs, with Rock and Leon dreading another night of camping outside. But Hayashi steps forward, calmly telling everyone to rest assured he has a room. His companions can only stare at him in a state of stunned, silent disbelief. He explains he is used to making business trip arrangements and bids them follow. The camera pans up to reveal the beautiful, well-appointed inn he has secured. Inside a spacious room, he details the plan: 2 rooms with meals included. Alec asks if he knows someone here, but Hayashi says he learned of the festival. He had simply heard about it before they left the capital city. With a pleasant smile, Hayashi clarifies that he made an advance reservation. He mentions a plan with a QUO card, a term Alec completely misunderstands. That night, Alec reflects on their day of information gathering at the fine inn. In their shared room, Alec stretches on the bed, admitting he wants to fight. He sees Leon drying his hair and thinks how luxurious this unexpected break is. Alec admits to himself that thanks to Hayashi, the inn and food are amazing. A blurry image of Hayashi floats in his mind as he ponders the man's competence. Suddenly, Hayashi appears, startling Alec, who thought he was just imagining him. Hayashi explains he had things to do and has arranged a shop for them. He leans in to whisper conspiratorially to Alec about the shop and some drinks. Alec looks both shocked and intrigued, while Hayashi maintains a placid smile. The shop is revealed to be a lavish club with beautiful bunny girl hostesses. A close-up shot focuses on the hostesses' alluring fishnet stockings and bunnytail. Another close-up highlights the intricate lace collar and outfit of a hostess. A flustered Alec is overwhelmed, while Hayashi is perfectly at ease offering a drink. A lovely hostess leans close to the blushing hero, telling him not to be shy. Hayashi smoothly points out that Alec's glass is empty, prompting the flustered hero. Alec gratefully raises his glass, thanking Hayashi for his expert social guidance. The next morning, Shirley is ecstatic about the delicious, all-you-can-eat breakfast. She offers a hungover Alec some bread, asking why he is not eating. Alec explains he drank too much, but seeing her so happy is enough for him. Shirley mishears his kind words, and he quickly has to correct her misunderstanding. She asks about their plans, and Alec admits he has no new leads to follow. Hayashi suddenly appears, assuring them he's taken care of everything, surprising them all. He announces that his research at the club last night is already complete. Alec is shocked, realizing Hayashi was working while they were just having fun. Flustered, Alec decides he will explain the nature of the shop to Shirley later. Hayashi pulls out a document, stating he found a particularly time-sensitive matter. He reveals a dragon appears in a nearby dungeon only during the harvest festival. Alec and Rock are stunned by this incredible piece of high-value intelligence. Hayashi asks if it was a good lead, and Alec confirms it's a famous tale. Alec's eyes gleam. He knows dragon scales forge powerful magic-resistant armor. He declares they must go to the dungeon for the sake of defeating the demon lord. Hayashi stands by with a polite smile, his hands clasped neatly before him. Alec kindly suggests Hayashi wait at the inn, insisting he has done enough. Hayashi looks downcast, asking what good he is, as Alec yells that he'd die. The salaryman looks up, his expression suddenly serious as he addresses the hero. Alec stares back, sensing a profound shift in his companion's quiet demeanor. With unnerving intensity, Hayashi states he cannot go home while his superior works. Alec realizes with shock that Hayashi considers this dungeon exploration to be overtime. The party insists he come, vowing to protect him, as Alec laments his stubbornness. The adventurers arrive at the imposing stone entrance of the ancient dungeon. Alec reassures a nervous Shirley that locals say it's not a difficult dungeon. A caption indicates that a full hour has passed since they entered. Alec is hopelessly lost and Shirley cries out that they are going in circles. A stern-faced Leon looks at the hero, asking if he has even been mapping. Alec defensively asks if it's his fault, as Hayashi quietly speaks up from behind. Hayashi points confidently down a corridor, stating that the stairs are this way. Alec looks at him, completely surprised by his sudden, unerring sense of direction. Shirley asks in amazement if he was mapping for them, but Hayashi demurs. Leon looks on, equally confused by the salaryman's strange and unexpected skill. Hayashi explains this dungeon is far simpler than the Umeda dungeon from his world. Shirley asks if his world has dungeons. He clarifies it is Umeda Station. Alec and Shirley are confused but correctly sense that Umeda must be a terrifying place. Thanks to Hayashi's guidance, they proceed smoothly toward the dungeon's deepest part. Alec feels a strange presence ahead and asks Hayashi if it's just his imagination. Hayashi calmly likens the intimidating feeling to the presence of his company's president. As Alec dismisses the strange comparison, the dungeon begins to violently shake. The entire party is thrown off balance by the sudden and powerful tremor. A colossal dragon smashes through a wall, demanding to know their business. The party is frozen in sheer terror by the overwhelming pressure the monster exudes. Alec, recovering his senses, makes the quick tactical decision to order a full retreat. Rock starts to argue, but Alec insists he's making a calm, rational judgment. He shouts that this is a high-level dragon far beyond their current capabilities. The dragon ignores their bickering and prepares to strike with its massive tail. Its powerful tail whips through the air with incredible speed, aimed at the party. The attack connects with a tremendous impact, sending Rock flying through the air. The heavily armored warrior lies motionless and defeated amidst a pile of rubble. Alec screams for Shirley to immediately begin healing their fallen comrade. A terrified Shirley snaps to attention, her face pale with shock and fear. As Shirley rushes to Rock's side, Leon prepares to support Alec in battle. Alec countermands him, screaming that their only viable option now is to retreat. He orders Leon to take Shirley and escape while he stays behind to buy time. With grim resolve, Alec declares his duty as the hero is to protect them all. He charges forward, facing the dragon's massive, roaring maw completely alone. The dragon attacks, but Alec finds himself suddenly paralyzed, unable to move. Rooted to the spot, he realizes with growing horror that he cannot even stand. He understands it's not a spell, but the dragon's terrifying roar alone. Despair washes over him as he realizes all his training was for nothing. The world fades to a white void, where Hayashi stands calmly beside the defeated hero. Alec looks up in utter confusion, whispering Hayashi's name in disbelief. Hayashi gazes forward with a calm, unreadable expression, his composure absolute. Reality returns and Hayashi is bowing deeply to the dragon, offering a polite greeting. Alec screams his name, warning him about the immense pressure from the beast. Hayashi simply flinches slightly, apologizing for the intrusion as if to a superior. He explains to a baffled Alec that his body has simply become numb to pressure. The party is stunned, with Alec asking if Hayashi's old boss was a monster. Hayashi, however, apologizes to the dragon for the intrusion, asking for its time. He reveals a tray from his case, laden with many fine bottles of alcohol. From a safe distance, he presents the gift as the dragon asks what it is. He explains he heard the dragon enjoys alcohol and brought some for it to try. The dragon is impressed, wondering how this human can remain so calm up close. Alec whispers to Rock, realizing this was the purpose of the shop last night. He understands now that Hayashi was not just gathering intel, but preparing a gift. The dragon compliments Hayashi's smooth talking, but the salesman humbly deflects it. The beast notes he is different from other skilled adventurers it has recently met. It muses that even a young dragon is a powerful and fearsome thing to behold. Hayashi's simple, powerful praise pleases the dragon, who commends his listening skills. He then forges a connection, saying he also worked for a boss like the dragon. A dark memory flashes of his former superior screaming at him in a sterile office. The dragon, intrigued, asks what kind of impossible demands this boss made. Hayashi hypothetically suggests his boss might ask for a dragon's fang. The dragon's eye widens in shock at the sheer audacity of the request. Alec and Rock gasp, praying that Hayashi is only speaking in hypotheticals. The dragon dismisses the idea as absurd, explaining its fangs do not grow back. Undeterred, Hayashi describes the dire consequences of returning empty-handed. He touches his own throat, explaining they might have their necks cut, be fired. The dragon misinterprets the idiom, roaring in shock at the idea of their beheading. The party flinches in terror, certain this is a catastrophic misunderstanding. Hayashi continues, explaining a trophy would be proof of their meeting for their master. The dragon, now filled with sympathy, seems to understand their dire situation. It concedes that while it cannot give a fang, one is conveniently about to fall out. With a soft pop, a massive, glistening white fang detaches from its jaw. The dragon tells Hayashi to take it, wishing him good luck on his quest. The hero's party sits in a state of stunned, silent disbelief. Alec's eyes are wide, unable to process that they actually succeeded. Hayashi politely refuses at first, saying he couldn't accept something so valuable. The dragon insists, calling it a fair payment for the excellent liquor. Following proper etiquette, Hayashi humbly accepts the fang, cradling it carefully. He concludes the meeting with a deep, perfect bow, thanking the dragon for its time. The party watches from afar, awestruck by the sheer beauty of his respectful gesture. Shirley is particularly impressed, marveling at the perfection of his bow. As they leave, the dragon calls out, inviting the interesting human to visit again. Hayashi instinctively pulls out his phone, about to report to his superior. He quickly remembers his modern technology is useless in this world. Alec calls out his name, and Hayashi turns with a pleasant, calm smile. The party mobs him in a joyous group hug, celebrating their impossible victory. They lift him into the air, cheering him for successfully acquiring the dragon's fang. Hayashi humbly explains that he just used the same sales tactics as always. Alec is left speechless, realizing the corporate world is truly a mysterious place. Hayashi adds that the dragon wasn't a bad person, much like most intimidating clients. They depart from the dungeon, leaving the satisfied dragon to take a nap. The party travels back through the forest under a bright, cloudy sky. Leon uses his staff to open a magical communication portal with the king. The king appears, stroking his beard, pleased that their journey is going smoothly. The party eagerly reports their success, giving all the credit to Hayashi. The king is impressed, commending Hayashi's fine work and showing him respect. He promises that once the demon lord is slain, they will send Hayashi home. The entire party reacts with a sudden, unified, and passionate no. Alec argues fiercely, saying they can't send him back to an unknown world. Rock insists that Hayashi deserves far better treatment than his old guild gave him. Shirley vows that they will take care of him, even after the war is over. Leon agrees, adding that bath time just wouldn't be the same without him. Hayashi is left speechless, touched by his companion's fierce display of loyalty. The king strokes his beard, admitting his judgment of Hayashi was correct. The party looks on with grim, determined expressions, their minds made up. The king wonders aloud what kind of special, hidden skill Hayashi must possess. His companions ponder this, acknowledging his abilities are strange and hard to define. Alec tells the king it doesn't matter. What's important is that he's Hayashi. He throws a friendly arm around the salaryman, declaring they'll continue together. For the first time, Hayashi offers a genuinely warm and happy smile. Alec beams, his resolve to protect his new friend stronger than ever. The rest of the party smiles, happy and united in their decision. The king gives a thumbs up from his portal, approving of their camaraderie. The party celebrates their renewed bond, Alec and Shirley sharing a high five. Alec rallies his friends, recommitting to their slightly unusual party dynamic. He pumps his fist, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead of them. But his thoughts turn to the future, to the hordes of monsters they must face. He wonders if Hayashi's sales techniques will work on the demon lord himself. This leads him to a sudden, horrifying realization about Hayashi's status sheet. He panics, remembering that a single hit would mean instant death for Hayashi. Hayashi surprises him from behind, startling the hero out of his thoughts. The salaryman wears his usual placid, unreadable smile, seemingly without a care. Alec sweats, overwhelmed by the daunting task of keeping this fragile man alive. He steels himself, a new, determined expression hardening his features. He declares the party's new prime directive, protecting Hayashi's life at all costs. Their first plan is to forge armor from the dragon fang for their sales companion. Alec imagines Hayashi encased in impenetrable full-plate mail, every gap filled. Hayashi politely requests an inner pocket be added for his business cards. They arrive at a local blacksmith shop to commission the ultimate defense. The blacksmith immediately tells them it's impossible. Hayashi's stats are too low. He offers to make armor for Alec instead, telling him not to be discouraged. Alec gestures between himself and Hayashi, arguing about who needs armor more. The blacksmith, confused, asks what job sales is and what it even equips. Alec confidently begins to explain what a salesman equips before realizing he has absolutely no idea, much to Hayashi's quiet amusement. The party asks Hayashi what armor he uses, expecting a fantasy world answer. Hayashi simply gestures to his clothes, asking if they mean his business suit. He states with utter conviction that for a salesman, the suit is armor. Alec questions how a suit could possibly protect him from physical impacts. Hayashi explains his expertise in avoiding collisions, even in a scramble crossing. He describes the famous five-way intersection from his world to his baffled friends. Their minds conjure a terrifying image of a five-way, armed battle royale. Alec asks how many people gather there, and Hayashi calmly replies, over 1,000. The hero's face contorts in horror at the thought of a 1,000-person deathmatch. Alec demands to know why, in such a hostile environment, he only wears a suit. Alec stands in the workshop, asking what the plan is for their 3 dragon scales. The blacksmith suggests armoring the heroes, while the salesman waits until he gets stronger. Alec comically imagines a super muscular Hayashi, realizing that day is very far away. He insists they must protect Hayashi until then, and the blacksmith grudgingly agrees. The blacksmith quotes a combined price of 3,000 gold for the hero and warrior's armor. Alec turns to Hayashi, asking if he is okay with this proposed plan. Hayashi professionally asks Alec for his armor preferences, notebook and pen ready. He then asks Rock, who declares he wants his armor to be as sturdy as possible. Understood, Hayashi says, signing a document with a decisive, business-like flourish. With his briefcase in hand, Hayashi pivots and walks purposefully towards the shop's exit. He strides out of the workshop, the heavy wooden door slamming shut behind him. The party is left utterly confused, wondering if that was an estimate and if they should wait. A moment of silence passes, the party staring at the closed door of the shop. They wait around a table, with Alec noting that Hayashi has been gone for a while. The door bursts open as Hayashi returns, announcing he is sorry for the delay. He proudly presents a competing offer he secured from an out-of-the-way smithy. He explains that this venture business will make a 2-piece set for 2,500 gold. The entire party, including the blacksmith, stares blankly at the documents, utterly dumbfounded. Hayashi turns to the blacksmith, suggesting the other shop is the logical choice. The panicked blacksmith shouts a counteroffer. He'll do it for 2,400 gold. Hayashi pauses, coolly repeating the new price as if seriously considering it. Saying, "Excuse me," he calmly reaches into his briefcase to retrieve something. Alec watches with wide eyes, nervously wondering what Hayashi is about to do. His mind imagines Hayashi threatening the blacksmith with knives for a better price. "Don't do it, Hayashi-san," Alec cries out, grabbing the salaryman's arm in a panic. Hayashi calmly produces a thick stack of papers, identifying it as the contract. He presents the formidable document to the blacksmith as Alec watches in amazement. The contract meticulously details the specifications for the light and sturdy armor sets. Hayashi asks the blacksmith to sign if the terms are acceptable to him. The blacksmith sweats, realizing the price is impossibly low for such detailed work. Hayashi calmly says, "Understood," and prepares to withdraw the deal. He begins to leave, politely saying it's a shame they couldn't do business together. "All right, my bad," the blacksmith cries, admitting his first price was an inflated test. The party is shocked, realizing the blacksmith was trying to rip them off. Alec understands that Hayashi saw through the blacksmith's negotiation tactic from the start. He wonders if the secret is in those papers, if this is Hayashi's special skill. Alec is filled with awe, realizing Hayashi does have a power, and it's amazing. The blacksmith grudgingly accepts the deal, saying he'll consider it good experience. He admits Hayashi is a tough negotiator, asking what kind of man he is. Hayashi apologizes for his delayed introduction and prepares to present himself. He gives his name and title, then executes a flawless, deeply respectful bow. The blacksmith, completely disarmed by the gesture, tells him to raise his head. He explains that to craft armor for anyone, a special amulet is needed. Alec is excited, but the blacksmith clarifies that he cannot make such an item. The fine work on dragon scales requires magic that only elves are capable of. He offers to draw them a map to a nearby elven village to get one. Alec grows worried, knowing elves are proud and unlikely to help humans. But for Hayashi's sake, he declares they must go, and the party agrees. Rock marvels at Hayashi's ability to persuade the stubborn blacksmith. The party asks what kind of skill he used to change the man's heart. Hayashi smiles, explaining it wasn't a skill, just simple sheepskin parchment. He says it was a technique he learned from dealing with his old boss. The party is amazed that such a powerful move was just paper, not magic. With their new quest set, Alec declares they'll go to the elves for Hayashi's armor. With a triumphant shout, Alec hefts his newly completed sword. He cheers that his new weapon, forged from the dragon fang, is finally ready. He can feel the overflowing dragon's aura radiating from the powerful blade. The blacksmith offers to carve a dragon on it, an idea Alec enthusiastically accepts. Leon cuts in, reminding them their true purpose is to defeat the demon lord. He chides the others for getting too carried away with their new gear. The blacksmith asks them for a favor: exterminate some horned rabbits on their way. Alec learns that horned rabbits are weak creatures, barely stronger than slimes. The blacksmith confirms they breed rapidly, and this year's population is huge. With a confident wink, Alec declares that such a simple task is easy for a hero. The party ventures into a lush forest, the path ahead dappled with sunlight. They are suddenly confronted by a massive swarming horde of horned rabbits. The party is shocked by the sheer number, blaming the demon lord's influence. Alec rallies his friends, telling them to just keep moving and watch the horns. The party prepares for battle, Leon and Shirley readying their staves for combat. A rabbit is sent flying, dispatched by a swift and powerful attack. The party fights as a unit, cutting a path through the sea of monsters. Alec grins as the battle goes well, then turns to check on Hayashi. He finds Hayashi trying to hand his business card to a rabbit and screams in disbelief. Alec yells that it's a monster and that it can't possibly understand him. Leon raises his hand, gathering magical energy for a powerful spell. He unleashes a massive fireball, which narrowly misses a terrified Alec. As the smoke clears, Leon calmly states that the rabbits have been annihilated. Alec, his hair smoldering, yells at Leon for not giving him a warning first. Leon gives him a cold, completely indifferent stare in response. He asks why Alec is staring, saying he should be the one to apologize. Leon coolly explains that Alec had walked directly into his line of fire. The two erupt into a childish argument about proper party formation and tactics. Alec tells Leon to stop trying to act cool and fight as part of the team. Rock breaks up the fight, warning that more monsters could be nearby. The party continues on their path, walking in a deeply uncomfortable silence. Alec thinks to himself that the atmosphere between them is terrible. He looks back at his companions and sees that no one is smiling. Well, almost no one. There is one exception to the grim mood. Hayashi maintains his pleasant, professional smile, which Alec finds deeply unsettling. Alec finds the whole situation incredibly awkward, though he doubts Hayashi is faking it. He tries to speak, but Hayashi suddenly perks up, having noticed something. Hayashi points to a rabbit silhouette, announcing that a customer is waiting. Alec yells at him not to make a sales call on a monster. The rabbit, startled by the commotion, quickly flees into the undergrowth. The party watches it go, with Alec wondering if they should pursue it. Leon declares that he will go after it and immediately starts to move. Alec yells in frustration, telling him not to act so rashly on his own. The party is split as Alec angrily chases after the impulsive mage. Left behind, Rock smacks his fist into his palm with sudden inspiration. He announces that he's starving and that it is Shirley's turn to cook. Still angry, Alec decides he and Hayashi will go after Leon, telling the others to stay. With a determined look, Alec turns to Hayashi, who calmly agrees to the plan. They plunge into the dense forest, Hayashi following Alec with his briefcase in hand. As they run, Alec wonders where Leon went, while Hayashi placidly states his concern. Alec frets that Leon has as little attack power as Hayashi, questioning his chances. His panic grows as he imagines Leon defeated, wondering what to tell the king. They stop in a quiet clearing, the air thick with Alec's unvoiced frustration. Alec finally confronts Hayashi, accusing him of not being worried at all. Hayashi calmly explains that since a mage fights from the rear, was Alec, the vanguard, who was in more immediate danger. As Alec stammers, Hayashi adds that Leon was simply trying to secure their food. Hayashi observes that Leon is doing what he can, despite his questionable methods. Alec feels a surge of motivation as Hayashi notes his presence is helpful. Hayashi praises Alec's kindness for worrying, leaving the young hero flustered. Alec asks if they are heading the right way, and Hayashi confidently confirms it. Alec is amazed Hayashi sensed something, asking if it was a monster's presence. Hayashi reveals his sales job trained him to recognize the president's approaching car. Confused by the word car, Alec listens as Hayashi compares it to a carriage. Alec is shocked he can distinguish hoofbeats, but Hayashi says it's a simple skill. Hayashi calls it standard practice, leaving Alec stunned by this strange isekai ability. He explains this skill isn't meant for wild animals, but for something else. Suddenly, Hayashi looks up, announcing that he has found Leon. They spot Leon's dark silhouette standing in a sun-dappled clearing ahead. "We caught up," Hayashi says, as Alec calls out to Leon for running off. Leon is surprised to see Hayashi, completely ignoring Alec's presence beside him. He holds up an animal, asking if Hayashi saw it and can see him. The animal is a small, hornless rabbit, its eyes crossed out in defeat. Alec teases Leon, asking if his fogged-up glasses are just for show. He then asks Leon if he plans to cook the rabbit for them. Hayashi inquires about the bag Alec is holding, which he explains is for preservation. Alec shows off the magic stone on the bag that keeps meat fresh. Hayashi finds it very convenient, as Leon notes the magic needs daily renewal. With a smile, Hayashi realizes Leon constantly uses his magic to help them. Leon turns away with a huff, a hint of a blush on his cheeks. A small, proud smile graces the mage's lips, unseen by the others. Watching Leon's reaction, Alec has a sudden moment of insight. He realizes with a start that the cool, detached mage is actually blushing. The hero's eyes widen as he finally understands his companion. Posing proudly, Alec declares he'll be a more mature leader for them. Leon retorts that he should watch his back, which Alec takes in good humor. Alec offers to carry the rabbit for Hayashi, who politely declines. Hayashi cheerfully observes that this world also has rabbits without horns. Alec confirms this, and Leon adds that hornless rabbits are the common type. A look of shared realization passes between Alec and Leon. Leon deduces this must be the first time Hayashi has ever seen a normal rabbit. Alec proudly presents the dead creature to Hayashi as a proper rabbit. Back at camp, something sizzles and smokes heavily in a pan over the fire. Shirley cooks nervously while Rock calmly reassures her about the boys. Rock is confident, stating that such disagreements are normal for adventurers. He muses that mutual respect and gratitude are all that's needed to reconcile. His philosophical moment is interrupted by the sheer volume of cooking smoke. The trio returns and Shirley is relieved to see they have made up. Alec and Leon stand together, the earlier tension having finally dissipated. To clear the air, Alec sincerely thanks Leon for his help. Adjusting his glasses, Leon acknowledges the thanks, glad Alec noticed his efforts. Rock and Shirley watch the heartwarming reconciliation with smiles. "We're back," Alec announces, declaring that he is absolutely starving. Rock pats Hayashi on the back, thanking him for creating the opportunity to talk. Hayashi humbly claims he was just greeting a customer before bagging it. Leon returns to the group and Shirley expresses her relief that he is safe. Alec notes the food isn't cooked, as Shirley wonders about all the smoke. Surrounded by the thick haze, Alec cheerfully asks Shirley what she is making. He notes that the smoke has a rather strange and unnatural color. A quivering, amorphous blob of goo emerges from the smoke with a soft plop. Alec's smile freezes as he realizes it's not smoke, but a solid object. He leaps back in horror, recognizing the monstrous form of a rover. The slimy creature lands with a splat, leaving Alec to wonder what it is. Shirley panics and apologizes profusely, though Alec insists he isn't blaming her. Several bowls are now filled with the same quivering, unappetizing substance. Leon reveals Shirley's long-hidden secret. She has always been terrible at cooking. He muses that, all things considered, it's probably for the best she never cooked. Leon jokes that if the church served this, he would question their faith. Alec mentally compliments Leon's sharp wit, even if it was unintentional. Shirley cries that she was too embarrassed to admit her lack of skill. She wails that as a support class, she feels useless for not being able to cook. Leon observes that her fundamental understanding of her role might be flawed. Alec reassures her, saying her job class has nothing to do with it. Rock warns Alec not to let his words be influenced by the food's appearance. Alec steels himself, deciding they must eat, and hesitantly says grace. Shirley looks on worriedly, telling them not to force themselves. She insists it's fine, her voice small as the party looks on with pity. Alec swallows hard, determined to eat the precious food despite its appearance. He steels himself for the worst, apologizing in case he gets poison. A calm voice cuts in as Hayashi announces he has already started eating. Alec's face contorts in pure horror as he screams Hayashi's name. He grabs the salaryman, asking if he's really eating the rover. Hayashi identifies it as scrambled eggs. Alec stares at the purple blob, unable to comprehend the statement. The party argues over the color, blue, green, yellow, baffling Alec. Hayashi admits the appearance is striking, but assures them the taste is excellent. He describes the texture as slimy, a word that horrifies Alec. The party watches nervously as Rock asks him what it tastes like. Holding his plate, Hayashi pauses thoughtfully before giving his verdict. He confidently compares the taste to a dish of pickled sea cucumber. The party is utterly baffled, so Hayashi offers to explain in detail. A full text-only recipe for the sea cucumber dish appears on the page. Alec is floored, feeling as if he's just glimpsed another world entirely. He asks what that was, as Hayashi politely inquires about the taste. Alec demands to know what a namako is, beyond a client's favorite food. Hayashi begins to explain that a namako is a living creature that looks exactly like the monstrous goo in their bowls. Alec stares at a rover, realizing this living creature is what Hayashi called a namako. He muses that in Hayashi's world, they actually eat these things, which Hayashi confirms. Alec grins in disbelief while Leon questions what kind of god these people worship. Hayashi proudly announces that in his world, Japan, eating such things is quite common. Rock wonders if they must cook them, speculating that Hayashi's world lacks other food. Alec enthusiastically grabs Hayashi, promising him all the meat and fish he could want. Rock decides that if it's edible, that's all that matters, urging everyone to eat. The entire party chews thoughtfully, enjoying the surprisingly delicious, slimy meal. Leon analyzes the dish, Rock admits it's good, and Hayashi accepts the compliments. The meal leaves them full and content, with Alec now craving a good drink. Hayashi takes over cooking duty and promises biscuits, deepening the party's bond. They finally arrive at their destination, Alec and Shirley gazing in wide-eyed wonder. Before them lies the magnificent elven village, carved into the face of a cliff. The elven guards at the gate, however, watch their approach with cold, hostile eyes. Alec notes their unwelcoming reception, but Hayashi calmly says this sort of thing happens. When Rock asks what he means, Hayashi explains it's common on sales calls. Alec offers a friendly, "Hello," but the guard replies in an incomprehensible tongue. The hero is completely lost, unable to understand a single word the elf said. Leon identifies the speech as an ancient dialect with a unique grammatical structure. When asked if he can speak it, Leon admits that it is not his specialty. He grimly warns that a single misspoken word could be mistaken for an attack spell. As Alec panics, Leon reiterates that his expertise is in modern, not ancient, magic. Hayashi calmly steps forward, announcing the elves will fetch someone who can speak their language. Alec can only stare, completely stunned by this sudden and impossible development. He rushes to Hayashi, asking if he can speak the ancient language, but he cannot. Hayashi explains he used body language, a feat Alec believes is impossible. To Alec's amazement, Hayashi explains his gestures conveyed their request perfectly. He reveals this skill was honed during a business trip to a place called Myanmar. He was sent there alone, to a country where he could not speak the language. Alec is horrified, asking if this was some form of exile or punishment. Hayashi clarifies it was just work, which Alec misinterprets as a guild punishment detail. Alec shouts in disbelief when Hayashi reveals he was stationed there for 2 years. Hayashi admits he relied heavily on body language, calling the memory a bit embarrassing. Grabbing his shoulders, Alec declares that Hayashi's former guild sounds completely insane. He can't fathom sending someone with a defense stat of 1 on such a mission. Alec insists Hayashi must have family, but the salaryman quietly says he is alone. He then asks about friends, but Hayashi's sad silence is the only answer. Alec processes the deep loneliness of Hayashi's past in a quiet, somber moment. He fiercely declares that they are now Hayashi's companions and will never leave him. Their emotional moment is cut short by a footstep in a disdainful voice. A tall, long-haired elf appears, asking if they are the noisy outsiders. Alec quickly introduces himself as the hero and asks for the elf's cooperation. The elf responds with a cold, unimpressed stare, asking, "So what?" As the hero falters, Hayashi smoothly steps forward to handle the introduction. He executes a perfect bow, presenting his business card and apologizing for the intrusion. Alec watches with beaming pride, certain this beautiful gesture will win the elf over. To his utter shock, the elf is completely unmoved. Hayashi's ultimate technique has failed. Leon theorizes that human etiquette is meaningless here due to profound cultural differences. Hayashi presses on, explaining they need a craftsman to work on a dragon's fang. The elf coldly informs them that his village does not accept requests from humans. With his face obscured by the speech bubble, he bluntly tells them to leave. The party is left in a tense standoff, the elf's refusal hanging in the air. Unfazed, Hayashi says that in that case, he has a small gift for them. He produces a beautiful, ornate box, opening it with a confident flourish. Inside is an assortment of exquisite sweets, which he explains are vegan-friendly. He adds that they are fresh from the capital and contain no artificial preservatives. Alex suddenly recognizes the sweets as the ones Hayashi had offered them earlier. He realizes with awe that Hayashi had anticipated this entire situation from the start. Hayashi presents the gift box, politely asking the elf to accept his small token. The elf looks down at the sweets, his stern expression wavering for just a moment. For a fraction of a second, his cold facade softens as he eyes the gift. A faint, almost imperceptible smile touches his lips as he considers the offering. The moment passes, he crosses his arms and declares he will not accept their request. The party despairs, thinking the positive atmosphere was just their imagination. As Alec fumes in the background, Hayashi calmly thanks the elf for his time. Alec worries that they are about to lose their most important negotiating tool. Just then, two small elven children appear, calling out in excitement. They are mesmerized by the sweets, and Hayashi kindly offers the box to them. The children cheer with pure, unadulterated joy at the unexpected treat. They snatch the box and run off, their laughter echoing through the entrance. Shirley quietly notes that the children have absconded with their gift. The elven guard, utterly defeated, lets out a long, weary sigh. "Enter," he says. He waves them forward, repeating his reluctant invitation to come inside the village. In the background, the children can be seen happily sharing the sweets. The elf explains he cannot accept a one-sided gift, so he will hear their story. Alec looks at the elf, his expression filled with gratitude for the change of heart. He wonders aloud if this means the elves have finally lowered their guard. He is immediately proven wrong as they enter a village on full military alert. Shirley marvels that they've actually been allowed into the reclusive elven village. Inside, however, elven children play happily, oblivious to the armed guards. The villagers go about their daily lives, presenting a strange mix of peace and vigilance. Shirley remarks that despite the intimidating welcome, the village seems surprisingly normal. The guard leads them to a workshop, knocking on the door. He introduces a bespectacled elder as the village's most skilled craftsman. The guard and the elder engage in a hushed, intense conversation in their own language. Alec and Rock guess they must be discussing the sweets Hayashi gave the children. The elder looks over the party with a deeply sour and unimpressed expression. He admits that he has a naturally grumpy face, which makes Alec realize something. Alec cheerfully notes that the elder can speak their language and introduces himself. The elder dryly retorts that understanding words does not mean understanding hearts. Hayashi bows deeply, explaining it's a gesture of respect for one's elders. Alec and Shirley realize the guard has brought them straight to the clan elder. The guard confirms that he reported the arrival of intruders to the elder. Alec bristles at being called an intruder, looking over at a calm Hayashi. He angrily shouts that Hayashi is their companion and not an intruder. The elder, however, clarifies that everyone except the man in black is suspicious. The elder repeats his assessment, leaving no room for doubt. Alec tries to argue that they are not suspicious and that his clothes are normal. The elder scoffs at his bright red cape, calling it tasteless and far from normal. Desperate, Alec presents the massive dragon fang, hoping it will finally prove their worth. Alec explains they brought a pure-hearted adventurer, but Shirley finds this suspicious. He presents the dragon fang, asking if the elf can craft an amulet. The wizened elven elder stands before them, his arms crossed in disapproval. A closer look reveals his stern, unimpressed expression. He looks down on them, his ancient face a mask of cold judgment. With a sharp gesture, he crosses his fingers, flatly refusing their request. The younger elf guard mimics his superior, also signaling their rejection. Alec notices the elder's gesture of refusal is much smaller than others. This subtle sign suggests the elder might be willing to at least listen. The elder finally speaks, demanding to know why they came to his village. He notes there are many elven settlements, so their choice must be deliberate. Alec realizes the elder is implying they could have simply gone elsewhere. Just then, Hayashi steps forward, recalling his visit to an accessory shop. He explains he came seeking the renowned craftsman he had heard so much about. The elder's glasses glint as the unexpected flattery piques his interest. Hayashi praises the beautiful accessories he saw, calling them true masterpieces. Alec watches in awe, realizing this is the proper way to compliment someone. The hero feels pleased, as if he himself were receiving the praise. The elder then sets a trap, asking if Hayashi saw a special ruby pendulum. Alec is sure he did, but Hayashi respectfully answers no, stunning the hero. Alec panics, desperately urging Hayashi to keep praising the elder. Unfazed, Hayashi humbly prepares to correct the master craftsman. The pendulum he saw, he states, was made of amethyst, not ruby. The elder smiles, admitting his own memory must have been mistaken. As the elder chuckles, Leon realizes the true nature of their conversation. He identifies the tense exchange as a high-stakes battle of wits. Leon explains to a confused Alec that the elder was testing Hayashi. The mage is certain Hayashi's memory is perfect. He was never mistaken. If Hayashi had lied about the ruby, the trap would have been sprung. Alec understands that their entire negotiation would have failed at that moment. Leon adds that at worst, Hayashi could have been executed as a liar. The younger elf guard dismisses this, but Leon seems unconvinced. With the stakes so high, Alec watches intently, hoping Hayashi can win. The elder continues his test, claiming the pendulum had a generic bird crest. Hayashi counters, stating it was the unique symbol of the elder's own workshop. The elder tries one last time, suggesting the piece was on a gold chain. "Oh," Hayashi replies calmly, "the one I saw was on a silver chain." A silent understanding passes between the two men kneeling in the workshop. Leon and Alex see that the gap between them has finally closed. Hayashi begins his final pitch, calling the dragon fang a priceless material. He asks the elder to use his great skill to unlock its full potential. The elder lets out a long, slow sigh, his stern facade finally melting. The party watches with bated breath, sensing a shift in the tense atmosphere. "Very well," the elder concedes. "I will craft the amulet for you." Alex's eyes widen in realization. He and Shirley burst into celebration. It's a victory for Hayashi's sincerity. But the elder names his price, 5 million gold. The second battle begins. The story shifts violently to a modern Japanese apartment at night. A young woman finds her air purifier has been unplugged from the wall. She sighs in frustration, annoyed at the wasted electricity. The outlet is in a terribly inconvenient spot behind a cabinet. Back in the fantasy world, the elder discusses the known status of an isekaijin. Alex scoffs, thinking 5 million must be a joke. The elder relents, offering a new price of 500,000 gold, still an impossible sum. The hero is outraged, crying that they could live like kings on that much. The next morning, sunlight streams over a modern apartment building. Hayashi bolts upright in bed with a sudden panic. He grips the sheets, his partner still sound asleep beside him. He scrambles for his phone, terrified that he is late for work. Checking the time, he is momentarily confused. He then remembers it's his day off and he stayed at her place. He sees that she has already prepared everything for the day's responsibilities. A wave of guilt washes over him for having done nothing to help. He looks over at her sleeping form with a gentle expression. He recalls their intimacy from the night before with a small blush. She stirs, wishing him a soft good morning. He looks at her, his expression a mixture of surprise and tenderness. He shyly returns the greeting. He offers her a mug of milk, which she gratefully accepts. Sitting together, he realizes it's been ages since he's felt so relaxed. A memory of his family flashes through his mind. He clutches a small crumpled gift, thinking this is ordinary happiness. Seeing his emotional expression, she asks him what's wrong. A woman offers Hayashi a cigarette, but he politely waves it off, saying he is fine. A discarded cigarette pack bears his personal creed. He alone will define his happiness. Sipping a drink at home, he wishes this simple, peaceful moment could last an eternity. As a recap, the party has agreed to clear a monster-infested cave for the elves. Shirley is pleased they can help people while also gaining valuable experience points. Rock notes it's a perfect deal, allowing them to repay their debt and train. Alec charges into the cavern, shocked by the sheer number of slimy rover monsters. A rover lands squarely on Hayashi's face as the surprised Alec apologizes. Hayashi calmly notes its resemblance to a sea cucumber, a delicacy from his world. Rock observes that the cave is filled with monsters that inflict debilitating status ailments. Paralysis birds and poison toads litter the path, explaining the elves' disdain. Leon warns Shirley that the drain bats will target her magic, leaving her defenseless. A bat attacks, and Shirley falls to the ground, helpless without her magic. Leon provides a healing potion as Alec reminds Hayashi to remain vigilant. Hayashi understands the danger, acknowledging they must proceed with extreme caution. The cave's narrow passages make it impossible to know where small monsters lurk. Alec specifically warns Hayashi about poison toads, given his fragile constitution. A toad lands on his face, and he calmly asks if this is the creature. Alec frantically pulls the monster off, yelling at him for his nonchalance. Hayashi wonders if the toad is edible, horrifying Alec with his culinary curiosity. Alec throws the creature away, screaming that the real danger is the poison. He desperately commands Shirley to cast her poison-curing magic immediately. Shirley concentrates, her staff glowing as she prepares the poison clear spell. A bright light envelops Hayashi as she unleashes the holy, purifying magic. The spell finishes, but the priestess looks on in complete and utter confusion. Alec asks what happened, but both Shirley and Hayashi are completely silent. Shirley asks them to remain calm, admitting that she can hardly believe it herself. She turns to Hayashi, her eyes wide with a startling and profound realization. She reveals that he is paralyzed and has been for a very, very long time. Alec and Rock are utterly stunned, finding the shocking diagnosis impossible to believe. Alec argues that such a condition would have obvious, debilitating physical effects. He points to where a status icon should be, but Hayashi simply points there too. Hayashi calmly confirms the lightning bolt icon, asking if they couldn't see it. Alec explodes in frustration, screaming that he should have told them sooner. Hayashi confirms the paralysis has been there since the moment he arrived in their world. Rock begins to connect the dots as Hayashi explains he thought it was normal. They realize his immunity to the dragon's aura was literal, physical paralysis. Rock explains that paralysis grants immunity to poison, causing Alec to despair. Alec is beside himself with guilt, while Hayashi simply offers a polite apology. Hayashi explains he thought it was his special power, a permanent defensive buff. Alec is horrified, imagining the suffering Hayashi must have endured all alone. Shirley suggests attempting to cure him, but Rock tells her to wait a moment. Rock confirms that the paralysis was the reason the dragon's aura had no effect. The party debates the strategic advantage of leaving him paralyzed for future battles. Alec clenches his fist in anger at Rock's cold and pragmatic suggestion. Furious, he lands a punch squarely on Rock's helmet, calling him an idiot. Alec tells him not to get angry, but Rock calmly replies that he isn't. The hero declares they will cure him, as the condition must be incredibly painful. He turns to Hayashi, asking what he must be feeling through all of this. Hayashi replies with a deadpan expression that he feels nothing. He's used to it. Alec is shocked, wondering how anyone could possibly get used to such a thing. He presses further, asking if the paralysis truly isn't painful for him. He wonders if it's somehow beneficial, referencing a health and safety law. Hayashi asks Shirley to prepare her healing spell, but to use it on Alec. The spell is cast and a strange, tingling energy begins to envelop the hero. Alec collapses to his knees as an intense, painful sensation shoots through him. He screams in agony, clutching himself as the healing magic courses through his body. The spell ends, leaving Alec panting and exhausted from the intense experience. Leon dryly explains the painful side effects of curing such an ailment. Hayashi tells the distraught Alec not to worry, as he is fine with his condition. Despite his protests, Shirley raises her staff to try healing him once more. Alec, mistakenly thinking it worked, rallies the party for their renewed quest. Shirley watches with a worried expression, hesitant to break the bad news. She tells them the spell had no effect. The paralysis remains completely uncured. They realize this is no ordinary ailment, but something far more permanent. Alec asks if he contracted the paralysis in his world, which Hayashi confirms. Hayashi admits he has no idea how it works, as this is his first experience. The hero understands it's not a matter of trying, it's simply incurable. The thought of an ailment that can never be healed leaves him utterly speechless. He likens it to a curse, far worse than any normal, temporary affliction. Considering his rock-bottom stats, the idea of him being cursed seems plausible. Hayashi calmly states that not being cured isn't a problem for him at all. He gestures, suggesting that if it cannot be cured, they must simply adapt. He proposes they leverage his condition, turning a weakness into a strength. The cave walls seem to close in as a new, dangerous plan begins to form. Hayashi bravely steps forward, offering himself as the party's primary shield. A massive Toad King unleashes a torrent of poisonous breath directly at him. The poison washes over him, but thanks to his paralysis, it has no effect. Alec triumphantly explains his paralysis grants him total immunity to poison. With the monster distracted, Alec charges in to strike the decisive blow. A large rover monster attempts to crush Hayashi with a powerful sticky attack. The attack lands but fails to lower his already minimal defense stat. Alec laughs, knowing his defense can't drop because it's already at rock bottom. A powerful Bat Queen unleashes its ultimate attack, an all-stat draining spell. The draining energy envelops Hayashi, attempting to sap his strength and power. The spell fails, as every single one of his stats is already at its lowest point. Leon and Shirley watch in awe as the once threatening monsters become trivial. Alec praises Hayashi, declaring that with him as a decoy, they are invincible. Suddenly, a faint rhythmic pricking sound catches Alec's undivided attention. He looks around, trying to place the sound, wondering if another monster lurks. He clutches his chest, realizing the sound isn't coming from the cave around him. He is overwhelmed by guilt. The sound is his own conscience screaming in protest. He falls to his knees in moral agony as Hayashi calmly asks what's wrong. Defeated, he declares their strategy wrong and pleads to fight a righteous battle. Hayashi, seemingly emotional, insists he doesn't mind, but hates being useless. Rock apologizes, admitting he was wrong to consider using Hayashi as a tool. Alec tries to reassure him that he is a valuable and useful party member. Hayashi argues that this is simply the spirit of corporate mutual support. He recalls his tyrannical boss screaming that he must sacrifice for the company. His boss's words echo, "Because he is paid a salary, this is simply give and take." Alec trembles, deeply disturbed by the otherworld's brutal spirit of mutual support. He wonders what horrifying world could have forged Hayashi's strange common sense about sacrifice. Their grim and morally questionable task in the dark cave finally comes to an end. The party emerges into the light, their difficult extermination missions successfully completed. Alec feels invigorated and surprisingly powerful after the intense, non-stop battle. Leon and Shirley are delighted, having overcome their weaknesses and improved their own stats. They realize with joy that the entire party has gained levels from the shared experience. Alec eagerly checks Hayashi's status, hoping he has finally escaped being level 1. His hopes are crushed as he sees a perfect, disheartening row of the number 2. Shirley tries to be optimistic, but Leon concludes their journey will be very long.